There are many reasons why a game might escape my review treatment. Maybe there just wasn't a spot to squeeze it in, maybe the theme wasn't my cup of tea, or the genre wasn't my hypodermic of jizz. Maybe I just plain no second-hand spunk mops couldn't be arsed. So here are my thoughts on some of the overlooked games I played in 2023. With the year behind us, I can now at least be asked to do a roundup of quickie reviews, because there's nothing quite like an arse roundup when you're in the mood for a quickie. That made sense when I got up this morning.
Pizza Tower.
A darling of the indies from early in the year that more people asked me to review than asked me to stop posting videos and commit suicide, which is always a good sign. Commenters tend to assume that if I don't review a game it's only ever because I secretly love it and can't think of enough mean, sweary ways to describe it. Well, guess what, YouTube Plankton? You're the closest to being right you've ever been. I do like Pizza Tower. I like the anarchic energy of the visuals and how it looks like a Cartoon Network show from that period in the late 90s, when every character had to look like a partially emptied ballsack on the floor of a laundry room for some reason. I like the innovative core platforming mechanics, and it's clearly one of those games I prize that give an awful lot of shit about looking like it doesn't give a shit. Here's why I didn't stick with it though. I can't play it for more than 2 or 3 levels before I get completely stressed out. Having to run backwards through each level with a time limit at the end is a nice idea that I appreciate, but I've been ruined by endless Metroidvanias, making me want to check every crevice and labia in the environment, so having to do that under pressure is more anxiety-inducing than fun. Maybe the game shouldn't have had a hub between levels. I said in my Armored Core 6 review, when a game has to ask me if I want to continue between every fucking mission, it runs the risk of my answer being no, thinking about it. At least give me 10 minutes to get back in the mood by looking through these old Domino's takeout menus.
Cocoon.
I was dismissive of Cocoon at first glance because it seemed like one of the many flavours of generic arty indie game I deal with. Isometric explorathon, unknown protagonist in lonely alien landscape, interpretive plot, understated soundtrack, general vibe of a Lawrence of Arabia establishing shot, but the turning point came when I pressed a button and suddenly jumped out of the world, which it turns out was contained in a fishbowl in a weird alien interactive science museum. And before long we find more worlds in more fishbowls that you can put inside other worlds and even in themselves to solve these nutty Mobius strips of puzzles, and it's all jolly absorbing from a game design perspective. But now I feel like I'm waiting for the game that does something fun with it story-wise. It'd be perfect for my pitch for a game adaptation of Being John Malkovich that got me thrown out of the Universal Executive toilets.
Sanobi.
Pixel-arty 2D platformy affair, best summarised as Katana Zero meets Celeste meets a grappling hook, followed by a whirlwind romance and joyful marriage to a grappling hook, with a plot straight out of the grim middle-aged murder man haunted by lost loved one finds second chance at redemption while escorting innocent child, hairy dad playbook, but I can't hold that against it because, hey, grappling hook! One of those would have certainly improved The Last of Us, if it had been used to tether the main characters to a speeding bus. Core gameplay's fun, easy to learn and hard to master, and evolves in all the right ways as you go through, but it doesn't build to an impactful climax for me, partly because of the lack of a meaty final boss, partly the plot dragging the conclusion out a bit too long. It's got some nice twists, but I slightly resent a story where the twist hinges on your character's memory being false. Not in the James Sunderland unreliable narrator way, in the, hey, all these establishing scenes we showed you were outright lies way. I mean, what chance does that give me? Maybe the whole plot's lies, maybe it's all happening inside the mind of a dying seagull.
Choosn't.
I'm actually a keen indoor rock climber, IRL. Well, I was. It's hard to find time away from the kids while I'm unwilling to duct tape them to my spine. And it's rare to find a climbing mechanic that really evokes the feeling of it, the taking of strain, the shifting of weight, the having to shake chalk dust off of everything you're stupid enough to put in the same backpack as your harness. But Jusant has a pretty good go at it, as our protagonist muddles their way through climbing up an abandoned post-apocalyptic, post-ocean society that was set up on a vertical wall for some reason, possibly because no one could agree on who could get the window seat. It's fun enough, but at a certain point it seems to stop being about combing through the remnants of a departed society and just goes, oh fuck it, I'm bored, space whales out of nowhere. And I mean literal space whales, not what I call your mum when she's on the gummies.
Immortals of a VM.
It's a shame I didn't finish game with title so forgettable I literally forgot it as I was saying this, because it had the kind of pure blandness energy that could have powered the bland 5 list from here to Callisto and back. It's a first-person action adventure with not particularly fun magic-based shooter combat that has that Ghostwire Tokyo problem, wherein making rude gestures at things just isn't as intuitive or enjoyable as blasting their wrinkly giblets off with a big juicy shotgun, and its only noteworthy quality is that the plot is, in a nutshell, hackneyed young adult fantasy novel The Game. You play a street urchin with a weirdly expensive haircut in an oppressive fantasy city who runs afoul of the evil empire, but discovers they've got special magic powers and falls under the tutelage of a stern but good-hearted mentor, and so on and so on and so on. I thought it best to pack it in before the game's protagonist needed to pick which of 2 troubled hunky boys he most wanted to snog.
Humanity.
A Japanese puzzle game where you play a magic shiny dog dropping instructions in the path of a stream of aimlessly wandering humanity to save them, rather than, as one might expect, to get ironic revenge for Crufts. Which made me go, you're right, humanity, why don't we ever see games like Lemmings anymore? Not entirely like Lemmings, of course. Lemmings penalised you if you let too many of your column of adorable squeaky charges march trustingly to their gory deaths, whereas in Humanity you can watch streams of humanoids plunge off cliffs for as long as it takes to process whatever it is that's going on in your vile head, which for me sucks the fun out of simulated genocide. Still, it was nice to see. And speaking of the complete opposite of that,
Call of Duty. Modern Warfare 3.
Didn't play it, never will. See, I played the Modern Warfare 1 remake, but when Modern Warfare 2 came around, I thought to myself, you know what? This does not spark joy. And I wish I could bottle the sensation of realizing that I could just not play Modern Warfare games anymore. I'd make a fucking fortune. Doctor, I'm feeling really depressed, anxious, and inadequate as a man. I prescribe 400 milligrams of never playing Modern Warfare games again. Gosh, I feel better already. And with a much more nuanced view on unsanctioned foreign interventionism.